So you get these four last words of Jesus on the cross. They contradict each other. Each gospel has different last words of Jesus. The last words of Jesus in each gospel seem to be literary constructions that fit within the theme of that gospel writer. So, for example, Mark has a Jesus who is still the Son of God, but there's a lot more distance. Jesus makes mistakes with miracles. His family doesn't really understand who he is. He seems a lot more ambivalent and confused about who he is, and on occasion has a lot more emotional outbursts. And Mark's last words of Jesus are, my God, why have you forsaken me?" These are powerful last words that fit with the theology of Mark, of a Jesus who is kind of conflicted about his role. Matthew has these same last words as well, and this is maybe fitting because Matthew really loves to talk about Jesus fulfilling scripture in one way or another. So these last words directly from Psalm 22, just like in Mark, maybe are fitting. Luke has something different. Luke has, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit," and then he gives up the ghost. So Luke's theology seems to give a lot more agency to Jesus, that Jesus is more in control of the situation and sort of decides to give up the ghost. And then John has the most triumphalist theology. And John has Jesus say in his last words, "It is finished." And these are probably the most famous ones. And these are really powerful last words that really match John's portrayal of Jesus as somebody who is in complete control, is always perfectly aware of his own calling and has very few qualms about it, and goes right to the end to understand it is finished. This is the end. It's completed. So of course, people will look to these as actual historical moments, but it is also really important to recognize that they seem to be more literary constructs fitting within the desires of each gospel writer.